Can a satanic demon be worshipped publicly and have a physical statue in place visible to everyone in the open? That's certainly the case for Baphomet, the goat demon. You see, animals have always been a source of high cultural significance across the world. This can be seen in many religions, including Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, and the religions of the ancient Greeks and Romans. For example, the Greeks associated intellect with the owl and believed that Athena, the goddess of insight, had a special relationship with birds, and owing to this, she is commonly addressed with an owl. But the one we're going to talk about today is somewhat more confusing in its worship. Hi, and welcome back to our channel, where today we're talking about Baphomet, a figure who has been worshipped as a symbol, the devil, and a god, depending on the group, particularly by agnostics and Gnostics, and depending on the period. He's a publicly worshipped satanic demon whose records date back roughly 1,000 years. But before we get into the 14th century devil story, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you stay notified of future uploads. Now, without wasting another moment, let's get right into it. So, who exactly is Baphomet? He is a deity, demon, and/or symbolic image who is said to have emerged in the 14th century as a figure of worship for the Knights Templar. Some modern interpretations portray him as a nexus of opposites, consisting of a network of dichotomies and so personifying balance. Baphomet is also known as the Goat of Mendes, the Judas goat, and the black goat that we talk about even today. These are the creatures that have made their way into pop culture and inspired artists to make paintings, movies, sculptures, and many more. The Satanic Temple, which is represented by Baphomet, built an 8.5-foot tall bronze statue of the creature in the Arkansas state capitol. This statue was the portrayal of the satanic creature with hooves, horns, wings, and rippling muscle. So, for his primary appearance, Baphomet is a winged demon with a pentagrammed goat's head and man's torso. If we look at the history of polytheistic and pagan religions like animism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Shintoism, as well as Christianity, the mention of goats has been a constant. Mendes, a goat god, was worshipped by the Egyptians. The Greeks worshipped Pan, a mischievous figure. Cernunnos was a Celt. Perhaps this explains why the Bible doesn't always have pleasant things to say about goats. Furthermore, most portrayals of Baphomet have a pentagram on its head and are part animal, part human, as well as part female, part male, signifying a mix of opposites. Many modern images of Baphomet feature phallic and sexual symbolism, as well as more contrasted components like white and dark moons. You would frequently find him doing a two-fingered salute, which is a frequently occultist gesture. This is probably the reason why he is a symbol of balance in various occult and mystic traditions. Now, you might be wondering, why only a goat? Well, here's why. In the Bible, Satan is frequently associated with goat pictures. In Scripture, goats signify a variety of things. But to get to the bottom of it, we need to look at one of the most prominent Jewish holidays, Yom Kippur, also known as the Day of Atonement. 2 goats would be used during this holiday. When the high priest laid hands on one, the Azazel goat, all the sins would be symbolically placed on it. They would drive the goat out into the wilderness once the sins were deposited, therefore driving out Israel's sins. Here, the desert is the place to drive the demon away, and the Azazel goat symbolizes Satan or evil in this context. So, considering this tradition, it's no surprise that Jesus encountered Satan in the desert after being baptized. On the other hand, the Church of Satan enjoys carrying Baphomet on their shoulders and in their sanctuaries because goats symbolized everything that was harmful to Christianity. You see, goats, according to Christianity, prefer to focus solely on themselves. They don't get along with others, and because selfishness is frequently at the foundation of sin, it's no surprise that goats are portrayed negatively in the Bible. It's also written in the Holy Book that goats will destroy everything in their way. So while shepherds keep the sheep safe from dangers outside the flock, the goat herders keep anything from outside the flock safe from the goats. Now, having understood the symbolism behind the goat demon, let's look at the history around it. Montague Summers, an English esoteric historian, said that the name Baphomet is a combination of Greek terms Baph and Metis, which combined imply absorption of knowledge. The bond between Baphomet and the Knights Templar is one of the most intriguing aspects of his history. The Knights Templar were a monastic knightly order of God's warriors that coupled fighting skill with celibacy and asceticism. The order was created with the intention of protecting pilgrims and Christian sacred sites. The oldest documented description of Baphomet comes from a 1098 chronicle of the siege of Antioch. However, this version seems to mean Muhammad rather than a half-goat, half-human hybrid. The contemporary conception of the figure that we are focusing on today was developed in the 19th century by French magician Eliphas Levi through an artwork depicting it with wings, a horned goat's head, and an inscribed pentagram and breasts. Baphomet, like the yin and yang, represents all opposites and equalities in the universe. It is frequently depicted as commanding the sun and moon, night and day, good and evil, up and down, and male and female. It features breasts to represent femininity as well as masculinity. In all, it represents the ideal and perfect human. It embodies everything in the cosmos, much like God. His pentagram denotes the ascent of matter into spirit. He also represents the unification of the four Platonic elements: earth, water, air, and fire. Through the fish scales, that is water, and the symbolic semicircle of the atmosphere, that is air, the two elements are the easiest to distinguish. His feet are fixed on the earth's sphere, while a fire burns from his crown. This represents that the soul is raised above the physical world and has become liberated and free. The inverted or upside-down pentagram, which is commonly misinterpreted as satanic, depicts the descent of spirit into matter. As a result, Baphomet completes the circle as an entity who both ascends and descends into matter. The Latin word salve, which means to separate, and coagula, which means to connect together, are present in his arms and indicate the powers of binding and loosing, as well as becoming an enlightened and liberated being. Eliphas Levi, French occultist and devotee of Kabbalah, tarot cards, and magic, created the Baphomet that has become a recognized occult icon. Levi also mentioned Kunrath, that relates to Heinrich Kunrath, a 16th century magician and alchemist whose works influenced Levi. According to Levi, Baphomet is the Sphinx of the occult sciences. A Sphinx is a creature that has the body of a lion and the head of a human. They apparently originated in Egypt, where they were associated with guardianship, among other things. Sphinxes were also used as protectors of secrets and mysteries by the Freemasons by Levi's time. And do note that Levi's picture has nothing to do with Islam, though rumors of the Templars' hidden knowledge may have inspired him to use the name of their god. Baphomet's goat-like traits originate from various associations between goats and fertility. Levi himself referred to the figure as Baphomet of Mendes, comparing him to a goat-headed Egyptian god famous for fertility. Pan, a Greek god with goat-like traits, was also associated with fertility in the 19th century. Furthermore, Baphomet's phallus has been replaced with a caduceus, which some regard as a fertility sign. Certainly, the phallic emphasis can only promote ideas of fertility. More recently, in 2014, the Satanic Temple, a political organization defending the separation of church and state, proposed to contribute a statue of Baphomet to stand alongside a monument to the Ten Commandments outside the Oklahoma Supreme Court. After great controversy, a statue of the figure was placed in front of Detroit's Satanic Temple in 2015. And with this, we come to the end of this video. Let us know down in the comments below if the story of Baphomet has left you scared, and if you have the courage to visit the famous statue in the Satanic Temple outside Arkansas in Detroit. Also, if you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you stay updated with our latest uploads. We'll see you again with another mythical tale. Until then, goodbye.